We've all been told the same thing, right? If you want better grades, you just have to study more. But what if that's actually terrible advice? Today, we're going to dive into this really wild idea that the secret to studying smarter is to study less.
I mean, you know that feeling, right? You put in the hours, you sacrifice your nights, you're grinding away, and your grades just don't move. Or even worse, they actually go down. So what's the deal? What is going on here?
Okay, so let me tell you about this college freshman, Jeanette. After a really rough first quarter, she decided to go all in. Her new goal? Study for 6 hours straight, every single night, nonstop. And you want to guess what happened? She failed. Every single class. Her GPA was a 0.0. See, Jeanette's story tells us something so important. The problem isn't a lack of effort. It's the wrong strategy. So what's the right one?
All right, so if just grinding it out, brute force, doesn't work, then what does? Well, the answer actually starts with a super simple fact about your brain. Turns out, this isn't about willpower at all. It's about biology. It's about how your brain is literally wired.
Yeah, all the research points to this one magic number. For most of us, our brain's peak performance, when we're really absorbing information, only lasts for about 25 to 30 minutes. That's it. After that window, your ability to learn just falls off a cliff.
So look at it this way. When you start studying, your efficiency is way up high. But after that 30-minute mark, it just tanks. Now think back to Jeanette. She was spending 5.5 hours in that low efficiency zone. She wasn't just wasting time, she was literally training her brain to hate studying. But here's the amazing part. Look what happens when you take just a tiny 5-minute break. Boom! Your efficiency shoots right back up, almost to 100%.
So the trick is to work with your brain, not against it. It's this simple cycle. You study, super focused, for 25 to 30 minutes. Then you take a 5-minute break, and this is key. Do something genuinely fun. Call a friend, listen to your favorite song, watch a funny video. Anything. This gives your brain a little reward for all that hard work. Then you just repeat that cycle. And when you're all done for the day, give yourself an even bigger reward. What you're doing is actually rewiring your brain to associate studying with something positive.
Okay, so we've got the when figured out. But what about the where? Turns out, where you study is just as important. Your surroundings are constantly sending these little signals to your brain whether you realize it or not.
I mean, think about it. Our brains are creatures of habit. You walk into the kitchen, you think about food. You get into bed, your brain thinks time to sleep. So what do you think happens when you try to study in your bed? You're sending completely mixed signals. Your brain gets confused. Are we sleeping? Are we working? And trying to focus becomes almost impossible.
Right, so trying to study in your relaxation space is just a recipe for disaster. It's all mixed signals. But what if? What if you could create one specific, powerful cue for your brain that meant one thing and one thing only? It's time for deep focus. Well, there's a shockingly simple way to do just that.
So check this out. Researchers at the University of Hawaii actually tested this. They told a group of students to get a simple desk lamp and follow a few rules. 1, this lamp is only for studying, nothing else. 2, when you're ready to study, you turn it on. 3, the second you feel your focus drift, or when it's time for a break, you turn the lamp off and you physically get up and leave the desk. You're basically creating this powerful trigger, like Pavlov's bell, that conditions your brain to associate that one light with deep, focused work. And the results? They were absolutely stunning. The students who used this study lamp trick scored, on average, 1 full grade point higher than the ones who didn't. That's not a small difference. We're talking about the difference between a B and an A, just from using a lamp. Okay, so we've got when to study and where to study. Now for the last piece of the puzzle, how you study. And honestly, this is where most of us make the biggest mistake, because we fall into something called the passive learning trap.
You know what I'm talking about. You get out the highlighter, you reread your notes over and over, and you feel like you're learning. But here's the problem. All you're doing is making the material look familiar. You're confusing recognizing something with actually knowing it. And those are two very, very different things.
So what's the real difference? Well, recognition is passive. It's just seeing something and thinking, oh yeah, I've seen that before. It's basically an illusion that you know it. But recollection? That's active. That's being able to pull that information out of your head, from scratch, and explain it without looking at your notes. And guess which one you need on an exam?
So how can you test yourself to make sure you're actually recollecting? It's so simple. After you read a section of your textbook, just close the book, look away, and try to explain the concept out loud, in your own words. They say the best way to learn something is to teach it. So try teaching it to a friend, or your dog, or hey, even an empty chair. If you can explain it clearly, then you really, truly know it.
And if you want a more structured way to do this, there's a fantastic method called SQ3R. It's simple. First, you survey the chapter. Just skim it to get the lay of the land. Next, you turn the headings into questions. This gets your brain ready. Then, you read the chapter, actively looking for the answers to your questions. As soon as you finish a section, you recite it. You say what you just learned out loud. And finally, later on, you review it all. See? It turns reading from this passive thing into an active mission to find answers.
All right, that was a lot, I know. So let's boil it all down. Let's put everything we've talked about into a simple, practical toolkit that you can literally start using tonight.
Here it is, your new study toolkit. Number 1, the 30-minute rule. Study in short, focused bursts. Number 2, the fun break. Make sure you reward yourself. Number 3, the study lamp. Create a special zone just for focus. And number 4, the empty chair. Always test what you know by teaching it. But look, knowing all this stuff is one thing, doing it is another. So my question to you is this. Looking at this toolkit, what's the one thing, the one technique you're going to try tonight? What's your first step to start studying less but studying way, way smarter?